Internet. It is almost Saturday. I'm Hazel, and welcome to Vlog Time. This week, we are a couple days in, 4 or 5 days into Love is in the Air. No Love Rocket yet for me. I went looking through the old Wowhead comments on the Love Rocket page, and apparently, it is a 1 in 3,333 chance. And according to a comment there, I am more likely to be struck by lightning, but it doesn't seem to take all that much time to do on all of my characters, so I've just been doing it in that way. When the event is over and I don't have a love rocket, at least I'll feel okay knowing that I tried. Also, I'm gonna have a bunch of toxic wastelings, which I can hang on to for 8 months and then sell them for 40 gold each. I'm really hoping that they make the Vile Fumigator's mask transmoggable and then addable to that transmog library, because that is a cool looking mask, and I have a couple of them now. And it'd be really neat if I could wear them, because I only have them on characters that don't wear cloth, but what are you gonna do? Also this week, very recently, we have a new build on Alpha with new information being data mined from it. There is some new pet information. Battle pets, they're testing the ability to upgrade your battle pets to epic quality in Legion. So right now, on the Legion Alpha, what that means, they're testing with an upgrade stone. There may be different ways to do it, but right now it's by stone. And right now on the Alpha, it gives your pet extra stats. Basically the same as it is when you fight other tamers with epic pets, like the NPC ones. You will be able to, or at least on the Alpha right now, they're testing this, the ability that you can make your pets epic and give them greater stats through use of an upgrade stone. And there's a forum thread to discuss this, and they're talking about either keeping it like this with a stat upgrade, or maybe talking about a cosmetic-only epic pet upgrade where your pet can have, I don't know, a purple name, but it's only cosmetic. And they're trying to find a way to make it not feel bad for people that have a huge amount of pets that have already, like people like me basically, that have a pet collection that is mostly perfect, you know, a lot, like all level 25, all rare, loads of pets, hundreds and hundreds, over 700 pets. They want to make it not feel too awful when they add in the ability to upgrade all of those, because, you know, having completed a pet collection, it's quite overwhelming to have to think about having to upgrade every single one of them again. So they're working through that. We don't know what way that's going to go. The best way to give your thoughts on it is to find that forum thread and type them out in a rational and coherent manner with what you think they should do and why you think they should do it. And hopefully the community can kind of come to a consensus. I don't know. On one hand, I feel like they definitely need to continue to add things in order for pet collectors that don't necessarily pet PvP to progress their collections. But on the other hand, doing a collection-wide, adding an extra upgrade tier like that's scary. And I don't really know what the answer is. I'm going to need some more time to think about that, and ideally I'd like to test it, but what are you going to do? They've also added a new pet tamer. We have our first pet tamer on the Alpha. They have 3 corgis, which is pretty cute. Whenever I think of a tamer with like a bunch of corgis, I think of the queen, because I think she has corgis. I don't know. And that'd be cool if it was like a queen with corgis. But I think there's like a fire corgi and some different kinds of corgis, so that's neat. And then there's a bunch of iteration on talents and abilities for a number of different classes. I skimmed over them. I noticed some changes to the Restorator PvP tree, which I'm going to take a closer look at later. But the one thing I wanted to focus on and talk about in this vlog specifically is the change that they're making to Voidform. Because I'm a Shadow Priest in my heart when it comes to raiding, and this is huge news. So, previous to this new build, the way they were talking about it before on the Alpha is Voidform is a thing that would activate automatically when you reached 100 insanity. Your insanity, you get a bunch of augmented crap while you're in Voidform, and then your insanity would rapidly increasingly decrease, until you were out of it, and then you would have to build up insanity and try and get back into it again. And the problem with that was because there's no really good way to control when you pop Voidform. It's just something that kind of happens when you reach that energy level. So they've redesigned it. And the way it is in this new build, the new tooltip, I'm going to read it for you. So instead of being a passive, it is now an active button. And this active button says activate Voidform, increasing damage by 30%, reducing Mind Blast cooldown by 3 seconds, and gaining 1% haste every 1 second. Your insanity drains increasingly quickly until it reaches 0 and Voidform ends. That's fine. When Voidform ends, you gain lingering insanity, allowing the haste bonus to persist for 60 seconds, or until you next enter Voidform. So I like that a lot better. I think, I haven't tried it yet, but I think just instead of, because of the lingering insanity allowing that haste bonus that you acquired while in Voidform, because you're going to keep that for so long, it doesn't feel so bad to get to void form a little bit early if there's going to be a burst phase, or like you're still going to want to get in and out of void form as many times as possible. Well, not out, but you're going to want to get into void form as often as possible, not only because it's awesome and does a bunch of damage, but because you're going to want to maintain that lingering insanity buff. You don't want to have a lot of downtime without that buff up. So that's going to be your incentive to get back there really quickly. And then the fact that you can actually activate it now instead of just having it happen gives you a little bit more control over exactly when that big damage burst is. So if you know you've got 100 insanity, but maybe, and also it didn't have an insanity cost, and it didn't say you needed 100 insanity, so we're gonna have to see how that works out. I'm assuming you're still going to need 100 insanity, but we'll see. So instead of popping your void form a little bit early and then being in lingering insanity by the time the burst phase comes around, I'm just imagining like a Gorfiend like fight with like a Feast of Souls. You can put it off for 10 seconds, 15 seconds if you need to, if it's going to benefit you to hold your void form until you've got bloodlust, for example, or you know that there's going to be a burst phase, you want to pop your pot, but not just yet. You can hold on to void form, pop it exactly when you want to, and then you now have that management of not only trying to maximize your void form, but trying to maximize the uptime of your lingering insanity buff. And I really like that, especially because the longer that you manage to stay in void form, the better you manage your void form, the better that buff will be. It won't last longer, but it will be stronger because you will have accumulated more haste. You get that 1% haste stacking every second you're in void form, so the longer you can stay in it, the better your lingering insanity buff is. I love it. I think it sounds great. I really want to try it. Also, I think they implemented the void form model, the void form images. What am I thinking of? The void form effect? The way you look all purple and tentacly when void form happens. So I'm really excited. That really kind of enthuses me to want to be a Shadow Priest in Legion again. And I kind of want to start farming the Insane title because that'll be a really good one to have as a raiding Shadow Priest in Legion. I would need to do... I have the Darkman Fair done. I have 2 of the 4 Goblin reps done. And I have the Bloodsail Buccaneers done. So I would need to do 2 more Goblin reps, and I would need to do that dumb lock-picking thing. Ravenholt. And I think that would be it for the Insane. Oh my god, I don't want to do it, but I want to do it. I want to have it. I want to be a Shadow Priest, you know, building Insanity with the... I want to be Hazel the Insane. That would be freaking fantastic. So, we'll see. And there's lots of other notes from the alpha. Those are the only ones that I took a really close look at, but go hit up MMO Champion or Wowhead to take a look at all of the changes if that is something you'd like to keep up on, because there's lots and lots of good stuff to pick over. What else happened this week? I have been doing lots of Arena, and I've been having a huge amount of fun with it. I put on my thick skin and dived back into LFG for quite a few sessions over the last week, and I plugged myself into 2 separate, very good turbo teams that I'm really happy with. So now I have 2 additional teams to try and play with whenever I don't have anybody to play with, so that's great. And we pushed up a whole bunch of rating. I'm now really close to getting back to 2200 in this new season. I got to 2400 last season. But I spent most of my time playing around like 2K, and in this new season, there's been a lot of rating deflation. Like, it's not the rating doesn't really inflate until the end of the season just because of the way MMR works. So right now I've been playing, over the past month or so, I've been playing like sort of at like 1900, between 1900 and 2K on my higher rated alts. And with these new teams, I pushed that up to like 2100, and that feels really good. I think we've got a really good team together, and if we work on it, and if I practice and watch my videos and stuff, I'll be able to get up to 2200, maybe even past it. The Gladiator Hazel dream might be alive. I have a lot of work to do, but I also have a lot of time in which to do that work, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And I am making an effort to be more on time and consistent with my streams. The stream schedule, now that I'm not raiding anymore, is much more even. Tuesdays through Thursdays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays are all 8. They all start at 8 p.m. Pacific. They usually go until about midnight. I reserve the right to cut them off early if I'm feeling really tired, but lately I've been keeping them going until like 1 a.m. because sometimes you just get in a really good queue session. And then Fridays I like to do afternoons, and sometimes evenings. Sometimes you do both. And then I'm trying to do weekends on evenings as well, unless I have something going on, you know, with like my husband or my dog, or we like actually go outside the house for once, but how often does that happen? So, trying to be more consistent with streams, and those have been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to keep working on it, because I'm going to feel really good once we break that 2200 barrier, because the last time I did it, as many people who have noted who watched my first push 2200 video, I was playing with some really strong players, and I'm playing with strong players now, but I'm playing with strong players that are closer to my own level. They're not like multi-gladiators or anything, so yeah, I'm working really hard on that. Drawings for the week. I have drawn, this first one is a baby bear. I based this off of the Hygel Bear Cub. I think he's kind of cute. I rushed him a little bit. I didn't have a whole lot of time, but I like him enough, and he's got a little butterfly friend. This next one is a heart. This was my daily drawing on February the 14th, so it was Valentine's Day, which is why it looks super rushed. It's because it was. I didn't have a lot of time because I spent the whole day with my husband for Valentine's Day. And then this next one is cherry tomatoes. I'm really excited about my summer garden. I'm starting to get really hyped for it because I think I'm like 2 weeks away from starting my seeds inside for my basil and my tomatoes and some marigolds. And I got my seeds. I'm just like waiting. I'm just making myself wait because I'm going to need another light, but that's a different story. I'm really excited about tomatoes. So I actually drew the cherry tomatoes off of the packet of tomato seeds because tomatoes. This next one is Flint the dog in a little doghouse. I was originally just going to draw a doghouse. But then I thought it looked really lonely without a dog, so I like threw a real quick dog in there, which is why the dog looks kind of weird. But, you know, his name's Flint, and he's a dog, and he lives in that house. This next one is a grump bee. It is like a bee, but grumpy. It is not anatomically identical to an actual bee, but, you know, it's a grump bee. It's a different kind of bee. Maybe one day I'll write a fantasy story about, like, the war of the grump bees versus the sulk bees, and it'll be like a really weird, angsty children's book. And this will be the original concept art. You never know. And this last one from yesterday was a wizard hat, and I'm actually really pleased with that. It was a really simple thing, but I tried to take my time to make it look a little cleaner than some of the other ones, and I'm pretty happy with it. And I haven't drawn my thing for today yet, so I'm going to have to make sure I do that. Anyways, that has been my week. There are no questions from the last week's vlog, so make sure if you have any questions you would like me to answer in a vlog, leave them as a comment on the most recent vlogs, and we will do those on the vlog. I said vlog like 7 times that last sentence. That was a lot. And I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!